Okay, welcome to PLO night. On the table 3, I'm going to actually change it to over here. This is the all-in shootout. We had it on the last Friday, but the whole PokerStars software froze up when the tournament started. Not sure if that happens today. Nothing happens here, but if it works, we can see when I win $2,000. I have one PLO100 table open and I'm on waiting list of about 1,000 other tables. I have a new microphone, so any feedback which involves the sound quality is more than welcome. This is the first time I'm using it to stream or even record anything, so let me know how the sound works, as I can't really hear you. On the table we open from the button, we hit the gut shot and the middle pair, we make a c-bet, this calling station calls. We are always pretty much beat here, so I'm going to check behind, see if our hand improves, and it doesn't, so if he bets the river I'm just going to fold. The only hand I can beat is some sort of draw that doesn't have any pair. But I don't know how this shootout thing works. Last time it was frozen until it said that I dropped out. I think we're gonna buy on the first round. So we have to win 1, 2, 3 rounds to get $1.50, so have to run pretty good to win any money. And we have King 10 against 5, it's a flip, and it seems that we are going to, oh no, no flush. Woo, 1 out of 3. So we are in the top 16,000 and top 4,000 gets money. Would be nice start to even in how much is it for the winner. 1,500. I don't know what happened here. Dustier goes all in on the flop. I'm opening the replayer here. Oh, he 4-bets, he goes, and he just jams the flop. Yeah, wow, bad way. Bad way to 3-bet ace high against short stack fish. Because then you have to hit something to win the board. He's not going to fold on most flops, so. And on this button, he's a, I don't know, probably a regular that doesn't really understand the situation, just looking at his own hand, and ace king queen jack, I 3-bet, but he doesn't see what's the situation. His 3-bet is not a good play there. Now we have to suck out on this flipperman, and we do. No jacks, no jacks, no jacks. Woo! 2 out of 3. Easy game. Nice to hear that sound quality is quite good. This microphone is quite big. It's almost disturbing. I'm not used that I have a huge silver ball in front of my screen, but yeah. The most important thing is that the sound quality is good. I have only one table open. No one wants to give me a spot on the other tables. I'm probably going to put myself into a couple more. Oh, now we are ahead, and oh, we have a flush draw. 1 spade, 1 spade, 1 spade. Oh dear, 1 spade. Oh, we win anyway. We have a straight. Woo! So I think we are in the money. Yeah, $1.50. Now, if we win one more, we win 2 1/4. And 2 wins $3, 4 wins $4, 5 wins $7.5, 6 wins $11, 7 wins $18. And if we want to win over $100, we have to win around 10 more of these flipperments, but as we saw, it's easy. Now the PokerStars software crashed. Wow. I hope my streaming software doesn't crash. Sometimes when one software crashes on my computer, it creates a domino effect, and then just everything goes down one by one. And then I have to restart, and my computer is so slow that restarting takes like 15 minutes, so let's hope that isn't the case today. Oh, we actually get back to the hand. We flop pair, open-ender, and a flush draw. Pretty strong. Definitely going to see, but I don't want to check back. Because now this Ukrainian regular can't make a move when he's in the hand. And we have, oh, we are ahead, and we are ahead. On the turn, we are not ahead, so we lose. Oh, he sucked out on us. 2021, it means we won $2.25. Woo! We don't have a straight on table 2, so with the 2 pairs we're just going to check back. No one is going to fold any better 2 pairs, so we have to check back. And here's King 4. I don't know why he is playing Ace King 9-4 anyway. He hits 2 pairs, he has to call, and then he has to hope for free turn and reverse. So I don't like this guy. He's a regular, but I don't like his call out of position. And now I'm still in the waiting. That was nice. It didn't drop me. So we have 2 tables of PLO100 and 1 table of PLO50, and the third one will be whatever opens up. Table 4, I'm going to fold. We have ace and king of the same suit and 4 diamonds in our hand, so hard to hit anything strong. This Desperati is pretty much on every PLO100 table, but I'm not really convinced that he's a good player, that he called with ace king 9-3 in there. If he's a good regular, he shouldn't be making those calls. Unless he thinks he can outplay 2 opponents post-flop. But if he thinks that, yeah, then he's bad. So if you have any questions about poker, PLO, whatever. Oh, this 4th table is bad. I'm going to sit out. Only regulars. There's no value when compared to some other tables. So if you have any questions about... Oh, we have... On PLO50 tables we have 1 Finnish player that is sort of well known. Some people remember Hirvi Kalsari from another side. He's on the waiting list for PLO50 tables. Might be that we're going to play against him today. So, as I was saying, if you have any questions about PLO poker or whatever you want to ask or comment, just feel free to use the chat. If you want to comment about the hands, there's number On top it's 1, 2, and bottom 3, 4. Say what number is the table and what was my hand. Because then I'm going to open the replayer and then I'm going to search for the hand. We have around 2-minute delay overall on the stream. And it's just for the security reasons, so no one can abuse the fact that we are streaming our whole cards. Just to make your money safe, we have a 2-minute delay. I'm sorry it might affect the pleasure of viewing this coaching, but it's something we have to do. And don't be afraid to comment the hands even without the delay, because then we're just going to go back to the hands and have our time with it. I have some problems. My second screen is blanking, and sometimes I can't see my second screen, so I can't see any of the tables. But luckily it comes back in a few seconds. It's some sort of disconnection problem with the cable. I'm not sure. It only happens when I'm playing poker and streaming. No, it happens on the other times, but it's not disturbing enough for me to do anything about it. Poker players are pretty lazy ones. Only 2 tables. We can, well, yeah, I'm going to that table and there. For this I'm going to give a purple color. It means that he's a sort of good side aggressive regular forum player, so to speak, so I know that he's capable of having some good thinking process. In because I was playing PLO50 PLO100. On the table 3, Richard Lion 3 bets out of position. Of course we're going to call, and that's an interesting flop. I would say that about half of his range is made up with aces. I'm just going to call here and see what he does on the turn. I pick up the open ender on the turn, which is great. And now my screen goes black. If he pots, I think I have to call, but he bets big. I'm pretty sure he puts me on a flush draw, so if I don't believe he has aces that often, I think I have to call the turn. And river sucks because it kills my hand. If he has any ace, he's just going to win the pot. If he has any pair of 10 or higher, he wins the pot. Of course, he's shoving all of his bluffs, but the problem is that most of his bluffs now win. So all I have to do, I just think I have to fold, because he has some ace XXX type of hands. So the river was kind of bad. Well, the table should always go on 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't see any reason for any other numbering. So the first big pot of the night, and we lose it to Richard, who is sort of spewy regular. On table 1 against limpers, we open rundown and we hit the inside wrap, and we pick up the pot. Then we have aces, which is nice. If at some point I forget to take the mute off from the microphone, so if you can see my mouth going up and down but you don't hear me speaking, just let me know so I can get it off, because I have a mute on my microphone. If I can use it. On table 2, I'm actually going to bet the turn. So I think if he has 2 pairs queen, then he would raise me. And I pick up the open-ender, which gives me more equity. And now on the river, all I have to do is check back and see if he has queen 10, queen 5 type of hand or not. And he has pocket kings, and we got nice value on the turn. So we have one PLO100 table open, so I'm going to change one of these. Oh, there's an imp, we're not going to open it. This table 1 doesn't look so good so far, so I'm going to change it here. I just have to check my cables, so because the screen is going black pretty often now, don't know why. On table 2 I might defend against Jorbuful, but I'm actually going to. I don't want him to steal my blinds. This is great flop for floating. 7 doesn't hit any draw, so if he checks, I really can't bet. So what I can do here, I can call, and if he checks, I can bet any scary river cards. But the problem is he might be drawing himself, and I don't have any equity to hit my hand. So if I want to call here as a float, I really want myself to have some equity. There's some river cards I can check back or value bet. But now I don't have any equity, and this 7 opens up another flush draw, so there's a ton of hands that he can hit the river and check call, so. Chip leader asked table 3, what was my hand? If you are talking about the hand with 2 pairs on the flop, if chip leader means the hand with aces, just say so I can go back to it. Was it on this table or the other one? I think it should be that table because Richard is in there. Oh, nice flop on table 1. We have the aces. My options are to call flop and check raise turns, or raise the flop. If I raise the flop, I can hit 18 times. There's so many draws that kinda sucks. But he might have ace queen, and he doesn't put me on aces, so. I hope he shoves some kind of made hand. If he calls it, it kinda sucks, but we still have pretty good hand, even if he's drawing. If this 8 was 7 or lower, I would just call here, but 8, any 9, 10, I mean 9, well 10 and jack on beats a straight anyway, but there's a lot more scary out for me. Table 3, we hit the pair and flush draw. If he raises, we're getting it in. We are flipping against two pairs, and we are well over his raising range on 3-bet pots. But on here, where can I find the hand? This one. The thing is that Richard actually 3-bets out of position. Aces, aces, rundown, aces, bad rundown, kings. So he has a lot more than pocket aces in his range. And I blocked 9s and 3s. The thing is that when he c-bets, he has air in his range, he has ace XXs in his range, he has aces. He's going to c-bet this flop with his whole range. And if he has aces, he's going to have aces with club draw when he c-bets half a pot. This half a pot c-bet is pretty... It's pretty much air or super nuts. So what I'm doing, I'm going to call and see what he does on the turn. And on the turn he bets sort of big. Now the question is that I have under-repped my hand. So if I raise here, he's going to continue with 2 pairs and betters. On table 2 I'm going to call because this guy is going to call also, so we get a lot more equity on the pot. And then the flop is interesting. I'm not really afraid of aces, and he bets half a pot. He shouldn't have aces in his range, so I'm going to call and see if the turn is safe one. It's not, so I think we get best value by checking. And this time he had aces, so the turn saved us. Pretty much the same problem that on this table, that's on the replayer. He has aces in his range, but his range is made up with a lot more than just aces. He has a lot of junk hands that don't hit the board. So of course, the times when he has aces, it kind of sucks, but here on the turn, I don't really want to shove. Shove is one option, but he's just going to fold his air and continue with the hands that beat us. So I'm just going to call. I have the open ender, which gives me some equity. Makes some of the river plays easier. Now when the board pairs, any of his ace XXX hands just beat me. Of course, he would bet here with the bluffs. If he has total air on the flop, he would play it in the pretty same way. But one other option was to make a small raise on the flop, and if he shoves, just fold. But then the problem is again that we isolate ourselves against only the better hands and don't get any value from the worse hands. But those are pretty nasty spots out of position in 3-bet pots when you flop 2 pairs or set and there's ace on the board. And you know the opponent's 3-bet range is over half of the range is something other than. I'm going to raise here for Richard Dunk bets 22%. And he just dunk folds on this board. So he likes to attack those scary boards. And I'm going to make a note this time on the English because it's an English coaching. Oh, I folded kings. Sucks. On table 1 I'm 3-betting this Finnish guy just to isolate himself. This hand doesn't play well in multi-way pots, so I want to create a heads-up pot one now. I think we have to call. We have so much going on with our hand, so when he decides to 4-bet, we just... one other option is to just fold and think about it. I think calling is sort of... I think it might be plus EV. Actually, I'm not going to take any more tables so far. And of course on this flop we had under a pot left and we have 2 pairs we're going to shove. If someone has ace queen or better, then it happens, but if we want to call 4-bet with this hand we have to get it in. And we might be drawing the 4-outer. He's going to shove any flop anyway if he has aces, so... And he have ace king, and wow. At least we can... Oh, we didn't get anything, why? Oh, we had king 6, so yeah. That's kinda rough. We had 57 on the flop and we didn't win either one of the flips, so... That's how we roll on PLO100. So that's one big pot lost. If we lose another big pot, then we are dropping down to PLO50. So let's see what happens. Not much going on the outside table. I'm check raising a try board. Let's see if we can pick a small pot. It's only a $5 pot. But the opponent repots to me, so there's nothing I can do. Doesn't work always, but it has to work half the time, so it's good. So for about, I don't know how many times we have tried PLO100 and it didn't start well today, we still have time to turn the tables and get a first winning session on PLO100. I don't know if we have ever won on PLO100. In EV assisted winnings we have won quite often, but we have run pretty bad on PLO100. But on the other hand, on PLO50 we have run amazingly. So can't really complain about bad run. Let's see what kind of players we have on the tables. Only 8 hands, have to get more. We have one green player. Well, this one is a green. And Simon probably is a green player. I'm going to stab here on table 2. On table 1, I'm going to check back here. Because if I had aces or kings, this is probably how I would play against Desperati. And now I actually got the king on the river, I don't have to bluff anymore. But he had a... Oh, he had a pocket pair, yeah, sorry. I should have bet the river. Maybe not. Well, he probably doesn't have kings when the king is on the board. So what he often has is queens or jacks in my mind. And I can represent aces, kings, pretty much queens. The reason why I don't want to c-bet this flop is that if he's an aggressive regular that I suppose he is, he can check raise me on this flop and create a lot of pain. Pretty much the hands I can continue is quads and pocket aces. If I have pocket kings, it's going to be a pretty nasty spot. When he raises the flop, he threatens me with 3 barrels. And if I had pocket kings, I really can't call 3 barrels. I have an ace in my hand and he bets pot on the flop. Now, and when he pots, he's never folding, so whatever he has a ton of equity. And if I had hit in any 2 pairs with my ace, I would have shoved it on the flop, but now I'm not in a good shape. And here we get a 3-bet from... I'm actually going to make a 4-bet. Because he's going to 3-bet me with wide range. So I'm going to make a 4-bet, he probably calls and I have a ton of folding equity. And now he folds pre-flop, probably has kings or queens. And if he wakes up with aces, I still have on average of 40% equity against him. So it's almost a flip. So I'm not worried about aces. And if he calls and the hand goes to showdown, or he has aces, hand goes to showdown, and he sees that I'm 4-betting him with my sort of crappy hands, it really makes him harder to play aggressively against me in position. So he's probably going to tone down his 3-betting frequency against me. And now the boys get money in, neither one of that. Ace, King, 5, 4. This is why Richard is so spewy. I mean, he managed... Well, he 3-bets and then he goes broke on this flop. Yeah, well, he had a double cut shot, so yeah, it's fine. But his 3-betting Ace, King, 5, 4. That 3-bet sucks. Because this hand is not going to hit pretty much anything hard. Of course, this flop is good for him, but other than that, he's going to just flop problems with this. I'm not interested in my own stats, because even what stats I have table, it doesn't mean what stats my opponent have on me. because some player might have been 54 hands with me on this one table. If I had my stats on all of the tables, it doesn't mean how he sees me. So I don't see any benefit of seeing my own stats, and there's not a good spot for my own stats on the table, so that's why I don't care to put my own stats on the table. Just like Animate said, it's from multiple sessions, and if I start to make decisions based on my own stats, it includes a lot of assumptions. I assume that the opponents are interested on my hands, and I assume they have the same stats on their HUD that I have on my HUD. On the outside table, a Brazil guy, 75-50 over 4 hands, I have ace blocker in my hand, so seems that he is pretty aggressive, which means I'm going to 4-bet this hand, and when he shoves I have to call and hope he doesn't have aces, which he has this time, so it sucks. And we actually get 2 pairs, so sort of set up. Of course, someone might say we don't have a sample size, but out of 4 hands, he has raised 2 of them, and we have the ace blocker. Without the ace blocker, I would just fold, but when we have the ace blocker, I'm going to 4-bet often. Here on table 1, the desperate calls, flop calls, turn. I don't see a lot of reason to bet the river, so just check back with the trips. And he had better trips, which is a big part of his range. So far nothing has come our way. Table 4, we are bluff catching against this aggressive guy. And this time he had the 9. So on the last couple of weeks, we have been pretty fortunate to be pretty successful on our bluff catches and reads. Today we have run to the other end of the ranges. So every time when we have thought that the opponent has bluffs in his range, he has had a value hand, so we have lost pretty much every pot so far. So unless we don't have to win any big pots, but if we lose like 1 buy-in on any stakes, I'm going to drop down these PLO100 tables. And today wasn't the day for PLO100 winnings. So as you can see, PLO is not as easy as dancing always. When the cards come in your way, it seems easy, but sometimes you don't hit your hands, or you have sort of setups like the ace king king against aces, or the set of queens against set of aces. They are sort of setups. Yeah, in Honor Manager there's versus hero stats, but I'm using Poker Tracker, so I don't have that luxury. And I don't really like to use stats to base my decisions, because then I am assuming my opponent reads the stats in the same way as I do. I much rather make notes about how my opponent plays and go from there. I'm using I have 8 blocker and king blocker on the turn, and my plan was to barrel any blank rivers, but now it's interesting. I'm actually going to make a small value bet on the river. He's 77-0. I don't think he's ever raising here without a straight. So when he raises, he probably has queen 10, jack 10 type of hand, so I'm just folding my top set. But this time he had the straight. Nothing we can do. Let's see if we can get a flipperment on table 1. Probably don't. I'm going to give him pressure on the turn, and he just folds. If I check the turn, he's probably going to bet it on table 1. Because if I check the turn, he's going to bet. So if I had any stronger hand, I might check raise the turn. Like if I had 5-8, I'd probably check raise against this guy. Here on table 3, I'm c-betting this flop because he calls me with, of course he's going to fold at least half of his outs. On table 1, table 2, I have 2 pairs, but it's monotone. If this 3 was any other suit, I would shove here, but I'm going to call once. And when he bets big on the turn, he probably has it. Or he has ace of clubs blocker, but I would think if he had pair aces, he would slow down on the turn. Number 1, I'm going to just raise this guy. He shouldn't hit this board, so if he has aces, kings, yeah, he might call me. But he should fold a lot of his range here. But he calls. Of course, sometimes we have this 1 out of 5 times accident that we hit the nuts on the turn. So instead of giving up, we can value bet the turn, and let's see what he does. He probably has aces, might have aces with ace-5 type of hand. But he should fold here on the turn, which is the reason why he should fold on the flop, unless he's planning of making call downs. And we don't have the history. He doesn't know that I might raise the flop as a bluff. So when he calls the flop with just an overpair, there aren't pretty much any good turn cards. So on the turn he's facing a tough decision if I keep barreling. And this river is, oh man. I'm pretty sure he has the straight, because when he calls the turn he has a lot more than overpair. So he's never doing this with pair aces, he shouldn't be doing. So he probably has ace, ace 2, 5, 6, 7. whatever, but he has straight here, so I'm just going to fold, and now we are going to sit out on the PLO100 tables. We have lost too much money on those. So wasn't our lucky day on PLO100. Too bad. So I'm going to see if there are any good PLO50 tables open. Because the ones we are pretty bad. Yeah, the tables, all of these 4 tables are under 25% flop percentage. So these are not the good ones. Oh, I suck at using the mute. It doesn't work. So I'm putting myself on the waiting list for the better tables. If no one bets this turn on table 1, I'm going to stab at it. Because when the flop goes check, someone should bet the turn if they have the flush. Of course, it might be that they just can't fold their 2 pairs, but... And on table 2, I'm just value betting the turn. And when he goes a turn, he either has a big draw and 9 hits his straight, or he has a trips. And if he bets the river, I have to check. But he checks the river, which is strange. Does he have queens or something? Yeah, bare queens, wow. That's, on the turn, it's super bad. I mean, come on. Well, he had a flush draw on the turn, yeah. Okay. It's not super bad. So now we are trying to make up the losses in PLO50. And I think that even in PLO50 we are running like 1 buy-in on the losses so far, because we lost ace king king against aces, so we need to win some big pots to make a winning session today. Let's see how it goes. we have some interesting tables. We have the Finnish Lepakkopes on most of our tables. Well, he's playing a lot of tables. But yeah, why did we leave here? Oh, it's a PLO100, that's why. Numbers are hard. Now, I have some idea of how he plays the game, so we are not after him, but there's this green regular on most of the tables. So if we have both of them, it's fine for me. Let's put up this one. And yeah. I'm going to open a lot of tables, so we are going to have some sort of action. On table 2, I thought about betting the turn, but the pot is so small, and when there's only $1 or $2 in the pot, it's such a small amount of money that people often call with wide range. They don't think about pot odds or something. They think that, oh, it's just $1. So it's often hard to steal those multi-way pots when it's a limp pot. A lot of regulars on PLO50, like, or maybe I should say a lot of guys with VPIP 30 or lower. And on table for the flush complete storm, the flop goes check, so I'm just going to bet my second nuts here. I don't see any reason of slow playing. And we get 3-bet from Lepke, we're going to call. And we flop, interesting flop, we had a lot of backdoor straight possibilities. Let's see how much he bets. 750. The problem is that most of our backdoor outs doesn't complete any straights, so he can bet big on the turn. So I don't think we get even implied odds to call, so just has to fold. Or have to fold, how do you say it? On the other table, we have the flush, and the guy hit his full house on the river. Turn went check, so we have to call the river, and this time he had us beat, so no luck there. On table 1, I'm just c-betting. I have the bottom cut shot, but it's no good. And we pick up the flush draw on the turn, which is nice. And top pair on the river, which might be nice. But we don't win the pot, which isn't nice. A 5-handed I'm going to open. Well, funny thing, we got $50 in, opponent drawing, oh, he had 17 outs. 17%. Pretty nice flop, not flush draw and the cut shot, I mean top set, what am I saying? I get lost on my words. So much going on now, I'm going to explode. On table 1, I'm going to call because I have a lot of outs that give me a backdoor stuff. And I can hit my flush, and I'm going to bet And if he raises, it's either for value or with the blocker, and I think it's often for value. Calling makes sense with sets and river pairs, which is the worst possible situation, so I think I just has to check fold. He's going to check with smaller flushes. Call the turn with sets and smaller flushes, and if he has smaller flushes, he's probably going to check it behind. So if he bets, he probably has the set here, so I'm just going to fold. That river really sucks. Of course, his calling range has king high and ace high flushes. And with king high flush, he's probably going to check behind. But if he has ace high flush, I think he's going to value bet the river. Because my hand is pretty face up. The reason why I want to don't bet the turn is that I don't want to check. If he has set, he checks behind. Of course, he might bet some weak hands, putting me on ace-king type of hand, but maybe checking is better, because then my hand is at least somewhat disguised. When I bet, it's so wide open. Starting 3-bets, he's 3-betting a lot, but we have pocket queens. The hand is not good for calling, and we can't really 4-bet this one. The reason why we 4-bet that 9, 8, 7, 4 or whatever we 4-bet before is that if he 5-bets, we can get it in. But if he 5-bets, we have to fold our queens, so I don't want to make 4-bet folds. That is not in my playbook 100 BPs deep. So that's why I'm just folding the queens. Oh, 2 of the outside tables just died. Wow. And now we have only pretty bad tables. So let's keep on searching. I'm going to put myself on pretty much all the waiting list, the tables that has 1 or 2 players in the line. Or there's any green players in it. So let's see which one of these tables we're going to keep. Table 2, well, yeah, there's 1 green. Green, is there any greenies on table 3? Bike and blade is a green. On table 3, I'm going to stab $1 because flop went check, so no one probably doesn't have 3 or king. So there's a ton of folding equity here. And on table 1, I'm making a delayed c-bet. Might have c-bet the flop, but I'm going to bet the turn. Hard for him to make moves when he checks the turn to me. So now I have 7 tables open. We can actually close the bad ones. I think table 1 is the worst of them all. So I'm going to wait for a while to see what kind of these other 4 outside tables are. And then decide what do we keep. Table 4, it's nice. When he checks the flop, I think I just have to bet half a pot. If he folds at least half of his range, we are making money, and he's definitely going to fold. that much. So that one went down. I'm going to put this one in here. We have queens on table 4. And we can open it, let's see what happens. And no action. This table 4 doesn't look really good. I might change that one too. What in the world this guy has? Wow. This guy opens from under the gun. He checks the flop, calls the turn, and calls the river with just the pocket queens. Now that's what I call optimistic. But nice. I'm going to call. It's so small and we have position on this guy. There's a lot of things we can do. And on this flop we have... What do we have? We have only a cut shot, so many outs that I'm not sure what we even have. I'm going to check back and see the turn. And on table 2 I'm value betting the river against green player. If he has queen 8 then it sucks. But he doesn't. On the table 1 when he bets the turn he has so many aces in his range that I'm just going to fold. And on table 3 the guy bets the river, we bet the flop, check the turn, and his river aggression is only 21. I'm just going to fold. We don't really have not much. And on table 4 I'm turning my pocket kings into a bluff catcher. I have the cut shot also. And now he has to check the river, but he mucks and he had only an ace high, so if we had c-bet the flop he would have just folded. Or maybe he would have called with 7, but now he turned his hand into a bluff, which is good for us. We got 2 streets of value. Nice flop on table 1. Of course, if someone raises us, it's not that nice, but it's sort of every time when you, well, these both are fishes, so yeah. Against regulars, when the board is like 10-5-5 and you hit the trips, the beauty is that when you make a c-bet, no one is believing you have trips. They always think that, oh, he's bluffing on paired boards. I must raise him. About the thing that Chip Leader said, that if I had my own stats on the HUD, I would know how the opponents perceive me. The problem with the HUDs are that so often I see players Jack 8, then 2 pairs. Yeah, I'm betting against this guy. And I'm going to check the river and let him bluff, but he doesn't. That sucks. And he had only a queen. Oh, he had a... Wow. He had a straight on the turn, but he decides to just call. Well, that's what happens when you slow play. You get what you deserve. So the problem with HUDs often is that people make too big decisions based on the HUD numbers. So they are sort of overplaying their HUD statistic. Like they make a huge river bluff because their HUD says that opponent fold 66% to the river bets. And they don't really think about the situation, about the range of opponent, about the range I'm representing, and so on, and so on, and so on. They just think about one stat and, yeah, he's folding opponent river, I bluff here. And they actually lose a lot of money when they make big decisions based on really tiny amount of information. HUD is something to help you on your decision making, not guide your decision making. And if I put my own stats here and start to make moves on opponent or adjust my gameplay according to what my stats are, I'm afraid there's a huge possibility that I'm actually overplaying with HUD stats. Here on table 4 I just call because I have so much nut potential in my hand that I want the third player. Every time when you have this type of hand, you actually want to have a multi-way pot. And he's a shorty. If he bets the turn, I'm going to shove on him. I have top 2 and a cut shot. So if I'm beat, I'm beat, but I always have outs. And he folds, too bad. If I had a nut flush on table 1, nut flush draw, I would bet, because then I had a huge hand. Now it's only a 6 high flush draw, so I'm actually going to fold it. Someone probably has a higher flush draw. And on the outside table we have pretty interesting spot. The opponent doesn't think, and that creates a lot of problems for him, and he makes a horrible river play. Oh, I love this one. Bum bum bum. Normal, we flop the flush draw just to choose up the pot, and on the turn we hit our ace. I'm going to make a bet, and he calls. So pretty often he doesn't have a set here. Well, he might have a set, and he's afraid of 5-2. But river I get 2 pairs. So now the question is how to get the most value. And opponent, well, I have only 10 hands on him. He's like 40, 30, 20 type of player with a lot of river aggression. Sort of aggressive player. So if he had a misdraw, I'm not getting any value. The only hand I'm getting value is, I don't know, ace-4 or 2 pairs, and he's not going to bet full pot. So bluff catchers are the only hands I'm getting value, but if I check, I think he's going to stab here often with a misdraw. And that's what happened, of course. He might have the set, and when I check river, he knows I don't often have a 5 deuce, so he might value bet, but I have only $39 behind, it's 27, so it's $12 more if I shove, and if he has any ace, he might actually be tempted to call me. So what I do, I raise here, and he thanks and folds, so I don't think he has a set when he folds here. Might be a missed flush draw, but the funny thing is that he pots the river and then folds when he has to pay $12 in the pot of 108 or 110. So nice pot. Here's a hand that is worth discussing. I have king, queen, jack 10, great hand. Diabolic opens, this guy calls, and Richard 3-bets from the button. Now, I don't want to cold call 3-bets out of position, because when I call, the best case scenario is that we have a sort of 4-way bot, and I don't have a flush draw, not flush draw. So I can't just happily shove any flush draw on the flop. I might be dominated. And if the money goes in pre-flop, yeah, we have around 25% equity, but it's not a plus EV move, so to speak. We are not making a lot of money by cold calling 3-bets out of position. I know that for some regulars, cold calling 3-bets out of position with the rundown is standard play, but I don't think that it is, because yeah, it's hard to make a mistake post-flop, but it's not something that you make your winnings out of. We have another green player. And we just have to give the pot to him. He probably doesn't have much. Here he calls the flop c-bet. One option is to check back with our open-ender, but I'm actually going to raise here on table 1, because if he has a pair straight, we are slightly ahead of him. And if I call, it's hard to get value if board pairs or flush comes. This guy might have, well, he's a green. If he folds queen jack, it might be good for us. He might fold some kind of king high flush draw maybe. And the board doesn't pair and he has the nuts. But we were 66% favorite on the flop. So definitely shove was the right play. Didn't run good there. Can't run over EV every night. Steven asked, when I open ace 8 7 deuce rainbow on the button, it means that on that spot my button open range is 100%. I'm opening to steal the blinds. And here I have on my HUD how often he folds small blind and how often he folds big blind. And according to opponents, when I estimate that it's plus EV to open any 4 cards from the button, I do it. But on the cutoff, I can't open any 4 cards because there's one player behind me. And people are often calling with wide range on the button even when cutoff opens. So I can't steal the blinds with 100% range from the cutoff. The difference between button and cutoff isn't the biggest one, but it's significant. On button you are always in position on the flop. And from the cutoff you have one player in position in you and you are in position to two players. Here I'm going cold call 3-bet because I have two pairs in my hand. Even if the money goes in pre-flop, we are not making a mistake, and the flop is a lot easier to play. Like now we hit the nuts, it's a pretty easy stack off. Isn't PLO easy? The problem is there are like 35% of the time the board pairs by the river, and if it doesn't pair, some sort of drop probably gets there. So now the pot is so big that we're going to shove any turn, like some sort of, well, he shoves and he has, wow, he has only a pair of queens, which is interesting. On table 2 I'm going to raise him. I have the aces and the gotcha, and he's so tight that pretty much the best hand is overpair and flush draw. And if he calls, I'm pretty sure he has the flush draw. Of course he probably has pocket nines now. No, he has overpair and the flush draw. And he hits his flush draw, nothing we can do about that. We had 47 on the flop, and that's pretty much the top of his range, so another flip lost. On the other part, we have been hitting great flops for some of our hands, but we have lost every flip so far. So not running good on those ones. Will be interesting to see the EV of this session, because we ran way under EV in PLO100, and now I have no idea where we ran at PLO50. Probably under, because we have lost so many flips. But we still have like half an hour to create big pots. Well, we have 200 BP stacks on 3 tables almost, so we have won some pots today. I have to stop complaining. Wow, this guy's died. And on table 1, when he checks, I bet. Sometimes he check raises me, sometimes he check folds. Now he check raises, he has an ace, and yeah, you got $2. Good for you. And here, small raise. If I was in position, I would call. I have the nut flush blocker, but nut flush blocker is hard to play out of position, so I'm just going to fold. Oh dear. Against shorty we flop the flush. And he bets we call the flop, and on the turn the money goes in, and he has 2 pairs that he hit his 4 outer and made quads by the river. I'm going to shove here against Siam. He donks, which is suspicious, and he has flush draw and no wrap. So he didn't have a made hand, which is what I suspected. A lot of going on the outside tables. People are raising me from the left and right. We don't make the flush on table 2, so I'm just going to check. I know table 4. I don't have any reason to do anything else, so I make a half a pot c-bet and the opponent happily fold, which is a great result. I'm going to mark some green players on the tables. We have half an hour. Let's see where we stand on the tables. I'm gonna close that one, it's so bad. So yeah, all of our tables have dropped down to the worst tables, so I'm going to put myself into a couple of more tables and see if we can find any better tables. Oh, the friend, he had a ace, whatever, and he got the money in with 50% and won the both of the money twice. So instead of chopping, he ran over EV and he crushed the coach. Well, I'm kind of honored that someone thinks that getting a break even all in against me is crushing me. Well, if that's crushing, it's good for him. Nice to know. But he had aces there, isn't any other way to play the hand for him, I think, because he got half of his stack in pre-flop. Now this table 4 is bad. And we had 3-bet from super tight player. He has 3-bet. I'm going to call it such a small 3-bet and let's see what he does. We have 7 outs to 2 pairs. He bets half a pot, so we definitely need implied odds. Also, any 8 gives us open-ender, any club gives us some equity, and we can probably see a free river. I'm going to call here. Well, that gives me a cut shot, and if he bets big, I have to fold. He checks, and river pairs, he's never folding his aces. But as I suspected, if he has pair aces, he's going to give us free river card. So we need only 25% on the flop to call half a pot bet. And we definitely had that on the flop. I think he bets here. Although there's no value in betting, but... there's a GTO approach to PLO, but it's not a relevant thing for mid-stakes. And I don't know if anyone is playing pure GTO. It's just something that at higher stakes people start to think that how often I need to bluff in this situation and what is my value range, so they estimate how much they need to have bluffs in their range. But in PLO it's hard to say that if I need to have 15% bluff range on the turn at some spot. What is that 15%? Like in Texas Hold'em, if you want to create a 15% bluff range, it's easily, because the starting hands, there are so few of them. But in PLO, it's hard to make those. On table 4, I'm just going to fold because this 9 is so bad. And if he has a spade draw, he's going to give me a free river card. Not much going on. Let's see if we can make something out of these garbage hands. One more table. Everyone is sitting out. Well, we have position on one deep stack. I'm going to see when the stats come up. And table 1 we are going to make a c-bet. Oh, should be $2. But he folds, which is nice. On table 2 we have a bottom end wrap. So and we make the bottom end. He's a green player, so I'm going to value bet until he raises me. And if he raises, I'm just happy to fold. But now he pots, so he has Jack 10 pretty much always. I don't see him raising any worse hand. The only worse hand he might raise is the set and flush draw and open ender, or some kind of monster hand that is ahead of me. I'm going to open my ace king 10 deuce because there's a greenie behind me and one player was sitting out, so it's 5-handed. And I don't have much, so I'm just going to c-bet and see. Now he folds again, which is nice. Seems to fold pretty easily, so easy way to make money. Ace Jack 7. Oh, he's shorty, so I'm going to fold this hand. Not much implied odds. And on table 4 I'm isolating Richard. Not much going on any tables. We have 8 tables open once again, so at some tables something should happen. I'm going to move the outside tables as soon as something happens. Table 2 we open from under the gun. We have 2 green players on the table. And on table 4 I value bet my top pair against greenie. Definitely. And turn is blank, he has a lot of draws, so I'm going to value bet this turn against any of his draws. And if he has 2 pairs, I still have 2 overcards. Black queen is a great card, I can value bet the river. And if he has 10-7 or 10 deuce, he's going to give me some value. And he just folds. Probably had a draw. On outside table we are in a situation we have straight flush, cut shot, top 2 and not flush draw. We have everything, so I'm just betting big. I want to get his money, and he shoves, and he has pair of 4s. Luckily justice happens and he doesn't win one. Yeah, he calls the flop with on king high flush draw and hit his 2 outer. One of the only cards he can be ahead of us on the turn when the money goes in. Like, oops. He had 8% on the flop. But justice is served and we win the pot. So we managed to win some pots. On the outside table we have a 3-bet situation for isolation, but someone cold calls. Happens. On table 2 I'm going to 3-bet with these small pairs just to create a situation where my bottom set gets a lot more value. And on this board I'm just bet folding. And if he calls, I probably give up unless I get some backdoor stuff. And he folds. Great result. And here I'm going to see bet this flop. Of course, if someone has a king, they call. If they have a diamond draw, they call. I have a cut shot, which I make, but the club game. Oh dear. Probably it just has to, I don't know. Just has to check fold. I might be tempted to value bet river if he has king queen. And if he bets the river, I think I just have to call. And he had the flush. Man, he's cold calling 3 bets with 10, 8, 7, 5. All his draws are pretty much dominated all the time. So that pre-flop call is bad. That is, I don't like it. I don't like that pre-flop call at all. And on the flop he has only a cut shot and an 8 high flush draw, so yeah, playing with that hand creates a lot of problems. On table 2 we have the nuts and redraw. I'm just going to call because the flop is rainbow and hope that someone does something stupid or calls with worse hand. Well, the 9 sucks, but if he had a set on the flop, the money would have gone in anyway. Of course, it might kill the action, but we have under a pot size left, so I think I have to shove. And he had actually a smaller straight, so even if he had 8-10, I would be ahead because I'm free rolling. The reason why I don't raise is that I want either one of these to call with the 2 pairs or open-ender or something, because I'm not really afraid of any card. If 8 or 10 or jack comes, I still have the nuts, so I will have the nuts straight on the turn always. The only way I'm beat on the turn is that board pairs and someone has a set or full house by then. But if if this guy has a set here on the flop and I shove, he's going to call, and the outcome would be the same no matter what I do. But when I just call, I create a situation where I can get more value. And he just shoved on me on the turn, so saved me the bothering of how to get the money in. He did it for me. On table 1, I'm going to bet I have top set and second nut straight. Just get value from sets, and if he calls, it's pretty easy for me to play the river. And when he thinks this long, if he shoves, I'm probably going to call. Or if he raises, I'm going to shove. We are 100 pips deep. And if he had ace-jack, I don't think he's thinking that long. Unless he has connection problems, but he just folds. Chip Leader is asking on what limit does it start to make sense to have balanced range. I think balancing is sort of misused concept. The idea of balancing is to make our opponents harder to think what we have. So we are sort of deceiving our hand. By balancing out, we can balance our range, we can balance our bet sizings. We can balance, well, range balancing means that we are balancing the frequency that we are doing something. But people often think that on PLO50 you have to be balanced. And if you play balanced poker, let's say against this KYHHH, if you play balanced poker against 66 and 6-0 guy, you are giving away value. Against these persons, you don't have to be balanced because they don't care about your hand. He doesn't think what I might have. He thinks his hand and does he play call or raise or fold. It doesn't really mean how balanced you are. He doesn't care. So you can play with exploitative bet sizing. You can bet big for value. You can check when you don't have nothing. He's not going to exploit what you do. While against some regulars, they might easily pick up what you are doing if you don't have any balance in your game. So it's good to be balanced against players that can exploit if you are not balanced, if that makes any sense. So balance when you have to. And even if you're playing PLO5000, if you are against a player that is super fishy who doesn't care about your hand, you don't have to be balanced. But if you are playing against good regular in PLO5, then you need to have some balance in your hand. So it always depends on the situation. On table 4 we have 2-person open-ender. If he was any tighter, I might call here, because I think he often has a straight here. And if the club comes on the river, I don't think he's folding. So I'm just going to fold. I have 4 outs to win the pot and others to tie, and I can't bluff the clubs. If he was more tighter player, I could always bluff any club on the river. Interesting spot on table 2, but he checks, so I'm going to bet the turn. And he just folds. When he checks the turn, he probably doesn't have the straight. I have thought before that when you check back the flop, good things happens and bad things happens. Good things, let's say the bad things that happens first. Like when I check back this flop, the opponent knows that I don't have ace-10 often. Or if there's a flush draw on the board, then it's better. Because on this rainbow board I might actually have. But if there's a flush draw on the board, he knows that I don't have the straight ever. I have to play some poker. Ooh, nasty spot on. One of those spots that you really hope your opponent doesn't bet, and he doesn't. I bet the flop, I bet the turn, and on the river, opponent thanks. I really think that if he had bet like $10 in the pot of 15, I would have called on the river, because it doesn't make sense. He calls the flop, he doesn't have jack 10 or set. Well, maybe he might have actually, because 8-9 gives a straight. But he has a ton of missed draws on the river. So what I was saying, that when you check back the flop, it caps your range. You often don't have the nuts. So it's hard to represent nuts on the turn. So when you check back the flop, it limits your options on the turn. But good things that happen, especially if you're going to check back the flop, you're going to be in position. When you check the flop, if opponent has any hand on the turn, he has to bet it. Because the flop goes check, check, there's a possibility that the turn goes check, check. And then it's a small pot on the river. So if they have a flopped hand that they are trying to check raise you with, they have to bet it on the turn. So when you check back the flop, the opponent has to bet his hand on the turn, and when he checks the turn, you know he probably doesn't have a strong hand. Now, this good thing happens against honest and weak players. Like this guy HH8, 685, he's going to play honesty on the turn. But if you are playing against regulars, when you check back the flop, they are probably going to bet most of the turns. They are going to stab you on the turn on most of the cards. And Chip Leader is asking, do I have population reads? What is a population read? You mean like the overall tendencies of the field? On the outside table we have 3-bet 6-7, we hit the set, we bet the flop, turn is an ace, and we bet the turn. I'm going to shove the river. He might call me with the flush. If he has ace king, he might call. If he would have shoved the turn, I would have called, because he shouldn't have that many ace 6, ace 3, ace deuce in his range. And if he has ace king, I think it's hard for him to fold. And when he's calling, he never has a full house here. And yeah, that's what happened. We are sort of lucky that he didn't hit his outs. He had 22% on the turn. And we pick up another big pot. Yoo! I don't know why he doesn't shove the turn, because when he calls the 3-bet and when he calls the flop, yeah, well, he has the flush draw. So he might think that even if I have aces, he has some outs. But on the turn, he has one ace in his hand, so pretty much I shouldn't have 6s or 3s in my range a lot. So the only hand he is losing to is ace king. So when he has the flush draw and ace queen, I think what I would have done in his shoes, I would have check raised the turn. But he didn't. He was too scared to get the money in with the great hand. And this is sort of spot that he's not thinking about my range, he's thinking his hand, and he thinks that I don't have the nuts, I can't go all in. Let's put up this table, there's a hand. He donks me on the flop, he has donked 29%, 2 out of 7, small sample size. There's no straight possibility I have the top 2, so I'm going to raise him on the flop. But he calls, probably has a draw, 5-7, 5-4. And on the turn I pick up the flush draw, so I'm quite happy to bet him on the turn, and he just folds. I don't know what he had, might be a open-ender or some weak hand. Not sure. And here on 4th table, I pick up the top 2 on the river, but he called me on the flop, and all the draws and flush draws and everything cuts there. So he pretty much always have the better hand, so I'm just folding my top 2 here. Yeah, general assumption, well, as we have seen today, some players don't fold on the flops that their folding hand is total air. So, like the Richard on Queen 10-8 with the flush draw, he don't folded, so he didn't have anything. And sometimes people don't bet with only draws, so it's hard to make general assumptions because the player pool is so wide. We have these huge calling stations, and then we have these huge acromaniacs, and then we have these tight aggressive, and we have huge need. We have all kinds of huge players with the emphasis on huge. So it's hard to make assumptions. You always have to think about what your opponent is. Of course, if you're playing your first hand on the table, like you have HUD isn't working yet, or it's totally new players, you have to have some sort of standard line. That is your standard play if you don't have any information. And that's pretty much, that can change according to the stage. Like my standard line on PLO50 is a little different than my standard line on like PLO5 Zoom. But overall, when you have your standard line, that's the starting point. And the more you have information, HUDs, notes, gameplay, anything, the more you have information, or if you have any information, that's when you can adjust and change your standard play. And I strongly believe that in most cases, you need to have information to change your standard line. If you change your standard line just to change gears or be balanced or whatever, that is just a bad way in my mind. We could have called here, but it's a 10 high flush draw. I don't like it that much. Out of position against good player. So if you are adjusting, or let's say you're balancing your range, or you're changing gears, or whatever you like to call it when you change your standard line, if you are doing it against unknowns, why the hell are you balancing your range against unknowns? You don't know if you have to be balanced or not. It's just wasting money. So stick to the standard lines until you have information to do something else. Oh, we are almost almost into 11, I'm going to show you this hand. We are 3-betting our Finnish friend. Let's see what he does. He calls and we hit a 13 out of wrap. I'm going to bet because he can't raise us and force us to fold. If we raise, we just call and see if we hit the straight. We have to hit the straight to win the pot. And I don't think he's ever bluffing, so we are just calling, and if the board pairs to king or queen, I'm going to fold. But we pick up even more outs and we have half a pot, so we have to call. And he has set of sixes, so we chop the pot. So nothing interesting there. Sort of a setup. After the 3-bet, there's no other way for the hands to go. Interesting spot on table 1, we pick up an top pair flush draw and open ender. A lot of going on. The problem is that if we're going to motivate all in, we don't have that many outs because someone has a higher flush draw. Of course, 9 of hearts would be a great one. Let's see if we can make the straight flush with the last hand of the session. We make the flush, which kind of sucks. And oh dear. We lost the pot to one of these calling stations who likes to play with this type of hands. Oh, the river is even worse here. If he bets, it's going to be nasty spot because he shouldn't have full houses that often when he just calls the flop. He might have 8-9 jack type of hand and he's bluffing, but he might also value bet. Well, he shouldn't value bet big flushes because if I had a set of 10s or 7s, I would pretty often check the turn. So I think that I have to call this because he's capable of bluffing the river. And he doesn't have anything. He had 2 pairs and he turned it to a bluff and we make a nice catch. Woo! That's great. So here he check calls the yeah, he opened pre-flop with this garbage. And I call on the turn, he bet small, like $5 into pot of 15 or something. So I raised him. I think that I'm ahead of his range, but he wakes up with pocket sixes. So yeah, and he won $30 from me. Kinda sucks. If I had ace of diamonds here instead of king, I would have definitely called, but the king high flush draw out of position kinda sucks. Because you don't want to, when you hit the flush, you don't want to win a small pot, but you also don't want to face a raise. So those king high, queen high flushes are really nasty to play out of position. In position, it's a lot easier because the opponent gives you more information about their hand strength. Let's see if we have spotted any other fishy players. There's not enough sample size. Not even on the outside tables. Pretty much the last hands, I'm actually going to close the orbit here, sit out on next big blind, and now you have around minute or two to guess how much we won or lost today. I have no idea, I lost the count. We lost almost all of the flips, besides the one in the end, but we made some nice stacks. On table 4, gut shot and a flush draw. I'm going to check and pretty much play it by the odds. And on the river, if he bets something really small, I'm just going to call, but his aggression is so low. Of course, the sample size is pretty weak, but he has bet the river 1 out of 8 times only. So I'm just going to fold. If he was more of a thinking player, I probably would have closed the river. But when he's this type of player, I believe him a lot. Top pair and a nut cut shot. Table 1 we get a 3-bet. With rundown we call and we hit a flop that we are going to check raise. We have the bottom pair and a wrap. Of course, if he has ace king queen, he's going to get it in, but he should fold pair aces. But he doesn't, and he has only pair queens. So we get 1 pot. And we get only 1 pot. Wow, he really overplayed his queens. Wow. And he was still flipping against us, but of course queens, he's blocking one of our outs. Against pair aces, we would have been a small favorite. But yeah, that's a huge overplay. 3-betting queens and get it in on this flop. Wow. He's not making money on PLO50 with that kind of play. But good for us. Of course, we didn't win anything in that hand in reality or in EV, but we could have. So the last hands, and then I'm going to see how much we won or lost. It's always pretty scary because I have no idea. It might be 200 or 300 down. Well, maybe. We lost a few buy-ins on PLO100. I think PLO50 went to positive because we have so many big stacks. But of course that might be just my biased memory. Let's see. Last chance to make money. Come to daddy. 60-0 out of 6 hand. Yeah, well, that's a green player. Min raise. easy call. And then we see what happens on the flop. We flop pair and open ender. Just going to check it, see what he does. Like if he bets, he shoves, then it's an easy fold. And when he calls, we have great pot odds, so I'm going to call. And we pick up the flush draw. Still, I think we have to hit something to win the pot. And we have the nuts, I think. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Woohoo! How to get the most value? It's really hard to get value. The only hand that calls us is a bluff catcher. So I'm going to bet as big as I think someone might call with bluff catcher. We might have missed flush draw. Or at least someone might think we have a missed flush draw. But on that spot it's hard to get value because when he doesn't bet the turn, he doesn't have 5-3, so there isn't the hand he's going to bet on the river. He's never going to bluff into two people, at least I don't think he's going to 25-16 with 8% river aggression. So the only way to get value is to bet ourselves. Yeah, Arnie Metz is afraid when he didn't see any PLO100. We had few lost pots on PLO100. I think 1 or 2 pre-flop all-ins and then few where we put 50 BBs into the pot and had to fold. So we lost $200 or $300 on PLO100, so I decided to drop them all. But now it's time for the truth. I don't know it myself, so I'm going to open it here. Ooh. 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 Yeah. On PLO100 we lost 225, EV was 84. On PLO50 we won 22, EV was 150. So our EV was plus $31, but in reality we lost 200. So PLO50 was great. All in adjusted is 30 big blinds. And on PLO100 we ran $150, $140 below EV. So yeah, oh, I have to change just a second. No, so here's the graph. At this point we dropped PLO100 and this is from PLO50. Goes well, but wow, here's the EV. Nothing you can do about here. Running almost 200 under EV in one hand. That's the difference. After that hand we have run pretty well according to EV, but one hand creates these. That's when what happens when you play PLO100. You lose one hand and this is the outcome, so nothing I can do about that. Great session on PLO50, we keep rocking on PLO50 and we keep failing at PLO100. Kinda sucks, but on next week we have another try. Let's see what happens then. Thanks for all watching, I hope you enjoyed. We had some great moments. We had some not so great moments, but overall I'm happy. And these numbers are really nice to see. I like those. So let's see you all on Friday who understand Finnish or just want to watch PLO, and our English PLO night is on next Wednesday. So thanks for joining and see you on next week. And if you are watching this on YouTube and you are not a member of Poker Mania, please join today. The best poker community there is. So see you all on Friday or on the next Wednesday. Have a good night and bye bye.